all of these banks bailing out another bank. You know, financial stability is a public good, and banks know that financial stability is good for their business too, right? So they're stepping in to make First Republic whole here, putting $30 billion in there to cover deposits. First Republic is one of these banks that had, I think, 68% of its deposits were not insured, right? So you had all these people saying, wait a minute, if I'm not protected by the FDIC, I'm going to start moving some of my money out. And that made First Republic very weak. There was not a buyer for this bank. So all of these other banks coming together to put money in there to say we're going to bail out First Republic, not the taxpayer, other banks.
But that's, maybe I'm going on something that's a whole other thing. 68% not insured. How does that happen? Maybe that's too far afield.
It's because you know we're only insured up to $250,000. They're over. So a lot of people had all of their money in there. Yeah. Wealthy individuals, some businesses had their entire account in one bank, so only insured up to $250,000. And so you've seen the pressure in these regional banks is because people are looking and saying, wait a minute, I'm going to put some money in JP Morgan Chase. I'm going to put some money in Citigroup. I'm going to only have $250,000 in this particular bank account. So for most people, most people don't have more than $250,000 in one bank, right? So you're insured. But for others, there are these uninsured limits.
Most people don't, but the concern here, and I was talking to Patrick McHenry, who is the financial services chair yesterday, the concern is that this hurts mid-sized banks because people who do have money are going to these bigger banks because they feel like they have more stability or whatnot. So this solves the immediate issue, but what does it mean overall for these mid-sized and smaller banks?
And you want community banks. You want vibrant, healthy community banks. And I think that's one of the important parts of this First Republic event is like the big banks know that too. They know that it's good to have different sized banks all around. You want to have community banks and you want them to be healthy. And that was one of the reasons why some of that rollback of Dodd-Frank in 2018, you know, you had Democrats and Republicans who wanted to make sure that there weren't really such stringent rules on these small and mid-sized banks that they couldn't afford stress tests and the like. I think the jury's still out about whether rolling those regulations back allowed this to happen. It might be one of the factors. But for the most part, this is a big interest rate story. Interest rates went up so far, so fast, it really caught out a lot of these smaller banks.
Surrounded by nature, a dramatic coastline, and seemingly endless beauty, life here on Japan's westernmost island is simple. But with each new day, the future of this quiet island paradise, where fishing is life, becomes more uncertain.
From where I'm walking on the shores of Japan's Yonaguni Island, the east coast of Taiwan is only 110 kilometers away. It's so close that on a clear day, you can actually see it. It's this stretch of water that's been viewed as a potential battleground if China invades Taiwan.
For the past 25 years, Kazushi Kinjo has made a living fishing the waters surrounding Japan's Nansei Islands. That includes the uninhabited group of islands known as the Senkakus in Japan and Diaoyu in China. When he started, Kinjo says he never saw Chinese ships, but in the last few years, dangerous encounters, specifically around the Senkaku Islands, are guaranteed.
You
can see it in the video. The bow of one of their ships was pointed straight at us, and they were chasing us.
This video, he says, is from his first confrontation with the Chinese Coast Guard back in 2018.
I don't know for sure, but I also saw what looked like cannons. Looking back, they definitely could have shot at us if they'd wanted to. I felt that fear.
In response to CNN, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says it's carrying out law enforcement duties in its territory. But it's not just the Chinese Coast Guard trolling these contested waters.
There are about 160 troops based at this coastal surveillance station inside Camp Yonaguni within eyesight of Taiwan. And since last summer, what they've likely seen
are Chinese warships routinely patrolling Japanese territorial waters in the waters north and east of Taiwan. That's according to Japanese and senior U.S. defense officials. It's a presence that the Japanese government says has steadily increased every year for more than 2 decades. And it's not just at sea. In roughly the past 2 years, the number of times Japan has been forced to scramble fighter jets because of China threatening its airspace has nearly doubled. An escalation in the air and at sea that one of the men in charge with defending Japan says is increasing tensions.
We cannot easily speculate over their intentions, but we are concerned about it, as it is a very provocative act.
Well, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs responded to CNN saying those comments are wholly fabricated and malicious hype. General Yoshihide Yoshida says it's that increased activity, the ongoing nuclear threat posed by North Korea, and a growing fear that China may try to take control of land that the Japanese government claims is inherently theirs. It makes defending the strategically important Nansei Islands a top priority.
Japan's territorial sovereignty extends to the Nansei Islands, and I'm afraid that may be infringed in the future.
The Nansei Islands consist of the